Can I get two? Oh, and guac.
At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can enjoy more of life's extras. No fees equals more guac. Amplify.
Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. Today, we're talking with a guest that I have been dying to meet in person, neuroscientist Shonté Jovan Taylor, and I cannot wait to dive in.
Hi, my name is Shonté Jovan Taylor. I'm a neuroscientist and success strategist here in Austin, Texas. And I'm here to empower 1 billion minds to understand the brain and use it more intentionally to go to the highest level of themselves so we can evolve our humanity. Being a part of the Women of Austin podcast is so necessary and exciting to be a part of because we are natural collaborators. So this is what I love to do, is have conversations with powerful women and exchange ideas so that we can, make the world a little bit better.
Shonté, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me and finding me and being aligned with my message.
Oh my gosh, I've been just absorbing your content and I'm so excited to dive into it today. But first, I'd like to start with a little warm-up question so we can get to know you. What is something that people would be surprised to know about you?
Well, I finally came up with something around that, and I am actually learning to become a DJ. Mindy, okay?
Okay.
I even have my DJ name.
Oh, please, can you tell us?
DJ Neuroscience.
Yes!
I can't wait to debut.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Amazing. Okay, well now we have to have an event just to have you come DJ.
Absolutely. I'm there.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so you're a neuroscientist and you are just so good at getting the message across and making things digestible and easy to understand. So thank you for that. So first, I'd like to talk about how you became a neuroscientist, and then when I was, like I said, going through your content and getting to know you, there was an accident that you talked about. So if you could tell us how you got into neuroscience and then about the accident, I think we can go from there. That'd be amazing.
Absolutely. I'd love to share. So I always had a natural inclination for understanding the brain. My father, I think I was around 9 years old, and he just posed this question, a curious question. And he said, what if we could turn off the lights with our mind? And I was like, wow, that would be really cool, right? And so when I started to think about going to college, I knew I was going to go into the sciences, maybe a dentist or a psychiatrist or something. But when I was researching colleges, UCLA had the major neuroscience. And I was like, oh my gosh, not to be whispering or anything, but
yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go to UCLA.
And UCLA, okay. Yeah.
And study this neuroscience thing because not all colleges had it. And so on that journey, that's where I learned a lot about the structures of the brain, clinical neuroscience, the pathologies of the brain, traumatic brain injuries. That's where I did a lot of my research, my thesis on traumatic brain injuries, and I went into neuropsychology. And so I spent 8 to 12 hours a day telling people what was wrong with their brains. And so that started really impacting me. Because what we know about neuroscience is that, wherever you put your focus on, that's where your neurons are going to thrive, right? Those neural networks are going to be, established more. And so I started kind of looking at everything that was kind of wrong with everything, right? Because my brain was being trained, right?
Yeah.
To look at what was wrong with the brain. And that didn't really fill me up. But even in that, I was a grad student, mother, married. And so the walls kind of started coming down around me because, being a woman, there's a lot on us, as we are ambitious and, we want to go after our dreams. But we also have this thing called caregiving, right? And taking care of domestic stuff, right? And so, and there's that, imbalance in these industries, especially in the sciences, right? And so there's a lot of that as well. And so you're kind of pulled in so many directions. And so there was a point in my life where I wasn't really taking care of myself, grad student, working, and mom and all of that. And so I was giving really all of my time and attention to everyone else and kind of giving my own self the leftovers. Yeah. So, we're the last to eat sometimes. We are the last to go to bed and, doing all the things. We have a lot on our minds. Our mental load is high, compared to our male counterparts. Yeah. And so my brain, just like any other computer, that's overloaded, that has too many tabs open, it shut down. And so I was in an empty parking lot with my kids. I was dropping my eldest off and I had my other two kids in the back seat. And I just happened to look over my shoulder at my eldest kid walking with his friends, and my foot was on the gas and the car accelerated and I hit a pole. And I had a brief moment of blacking out. But in that darkness, I was able, as I'm listening to my kids cry in the back, we were all okay that day. But in that darkness, I had this brief moment, like my higher self saying, you have got to start taking better care of yourself, because you have people depending on you to be at your best, to be at your most, resilient, strongest, healthiest self. And so whatever I was doing, it was now compromising, our health. Our physical, well-being. And so that's when I decided to make a change from just studying the clinical pathologies of the brain to something that was more fulfilling. And now I'm using neuroscience to empower 1 billion minds, so that we can thrive instead of survive or, stay in burnout. And so it's much more fulfilling and fun. And I just get to be with people like you and, teach about the brain all day long, but in a way that allows everyday people to thrive and take their lives to the next level.
I love all of that. And that's why I was so attracted to you and wanted to get to know you and have you on, because I think that it's so important. And one thing that stood out, you said burnout. And I know a lot of people are, feeling burnout, already burnt out. And I wanted to ask you, if there are ways that we can train our brain to prevent burnout, or what's going on in our brains when burnout's happening. You said you had too many tabs open. I never heard that before, but I could feel it when you said that. It was a great way to help visualize what can happen. So if you could go into that a little bit more, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're in burnout mode, essentially our nervous systems are in a state where we are feeling like we're always running down a dark alley away from something, running from a bear. Our adrenaline is high. Our stress levels, the cortisol hormone, is chronically in our brains and in our bodies, and it wreaks havoc. Stress is a silent killer, right?
Yeah.
And so this hormone that should only be available in our systems in brief periods of time when we're actually, trying to run from a bear, or we also have it naturally when we wake up, because if we didn't have a little bit, we wouldn't be motivated to do anything. But chronic levels and high levels consistently start wreaking havoc on our actual brain cells and on our what's called the hippocampus, which is responsible for learning and short-term memory. And it also wreaks havoc on our prefrontal cortex, which is, I call it the leader brain, right? It's the most modern part of our brain, where that's important for us to do like higher order thinking and functions and being able to manage our emotional brain. And so if that part of the brain is burnt out and compromised, then that's where we get those negative thoughts that we can't really get rid of. That's when our worrywart brain gets out of control. And so that hormone, it's like literally burning out our neurons. And so if our brain cells, we have 100 billion brain cells, can't talk to each other and communicate at 200 miles per hour,
Oh.
then we're going to miss out. We're going to be dropping the balls. We're going to be making more mistakes, right? And we're going to be irritated and short with people that we love, unfortunately, right? We're not going to practice self-care. But there's a lot of reasons why we end up burnt out. And so I can go into them, but the chronic reason is that most of us are not living our authentic lives. It takes more mental energy to be who we are not than to be who we are.
Wow.
Our brains, every time we suppress our true words, our true emotions, what we really want to do, what we really want to say, our leadership brain, the prefrontal cortex, has to use mental energy to suppress those thoughts, those emotions. And so it's using up all this mental energy. And so we think it's because we're working a lot. But how many times, Mindy, have you been in situations where you didn't feel safe to express yourself, or the culture around you didn't value your opinion for whatever reason, and you had to hold back? That's happening to women all over the world.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing that daily, holding yourself back, then you are burning out your brain.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I know people want to say, oh, it's what you eat and what you sleep. Those are components. But at the core of it,
Yeah.
Mindy,
Yeah.
it's because we are not in alignment with who we truly are, and we're not showing up in our full power. We're holding ourselves back for the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just changed the way, reframed my thinking. Wow. But it makes sense.
It makes so much sense. And that's why I love this work, because we could be at the surface level of talking about the brain, which I started that way when I came into this entrepreneurial journey. But the deeper you go, the more you understand about how everything we do and everything we think is, being translated by the brain, transformed. Your brain is being transformed by experiences. So what kind of experiences are we having? Even the uncomfortable ones, what are they doing to your brain? And maybe the ones that light you up, those experiences, what are those doing to your brain? And then we can fit in, okay, eat for brain health. Make sure you sleep, because if we don't get enough sleep, that also burns out the brain.
Yeah.
But I think if we get to the wisdom of the brain, the deeper levels,
Yeah.
and connected at the core, everything else will fall into place. Selecting the foods that are healthy for you will be a natural progression for you. It won't be resistance, because at your core how the brain will thrive if you're showing up in alignment with your mission, with your goals. How relationships are important for your brain. I think we're starving for a deeper level of engagement with ourselves and with others. And so everything else becomes superficial. And when people don't know they're craving that deeper level of engagement on a conscious level,
Yeah.
then they are looking to do external stuff. Well, maybe if I just change my diet, You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I take this extra course, then, then I'll feel better. But we've been doing that and it hasn't been enough.
Yeah.
So we need another level of this human experience.
Women of Austin would like to thank our community sponsors. Joel Richardson and Team, your Austin mortgage lender. Visit myfinanceteam.com. Dave's Ultimate Automotive. Visit davesultimateautomotive.com and become a part of the Dave's family today. Elite Marquee and Events, LED marquees, rentals, and event planning at Elite Marquee Austin. Looking to join a group of fun, motivated, inspiring women? We've got you covered. Introducing the Women of Austin community. Whether you're a business owner looking for camaraderie, a working mom who wants to stay connected, or you're just looking to make new friends with an incredible group of local women, this community is for you. We have special in-person member-only events, an online platform and app to stay connected, a book club, and so much more. Join us and become a member today at womenofaustincommunity.com. Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and I'm the founder of Women of Austin. Today, we're filming at Kiki Price. It's a new shoe store in downtown Austin. They're located on North Lamar and West 12th Street. Kiki Price Shoes is a female-owned business run by Kiki, who lives in the Bay Area, and Lucy, who lives right here in Austin. The pair have been friends for 30-plus years and have always wanted to create a shoe that was comfortable but didn't sacrifice style. They partnered with Dr. Rick J., who is an orthopedic surgeon, to create a custom insole that is in every shoe, making the shoe actually comfortable to walk and stand in all day. They've got a great deal for all Women of Austin podcast viewers and listeners, so check that out in the description of the show. I'm trying to put it together because it's a lot, but it makes sense. So like you're trying to take that course to make you feel better. I've bought that course and it's sitting, I've done part 1 and it's just sitting in my, in my computer, not done. Mm-hmm. Tried to change my diet to when I'm not feeling right and, do it for a couple days, a week. That's it. So, So if I'm hearing you right, if we get in alignment with what our true purpose is, then we will be guided to take the right course, or know that we don't need to take the course because we're more in alignment with what we are and want to do. And I think with the food and sleep, a lot of the reason I don't sleep well is because, stress. And I like to think, because I have to get up and get my daughter to school and I can only do it until, she stays up late and we get up early, but I can make some changes and do some things, but that's a good excuse. That's interesting.
I know. I did a little twist on you there, honey.
I know. I love it. I'm still processing. So what are ways that we can, I know there's no shortcut, but how can we figure out what that is and listen to our brain? Yes.
So we're highly intuitive beings. And so I don't think we've been listening enough. When I told you about crashing into a pole, right? I was listening. And it's what happens when you don't sleep enough, right? When you don't eat properly. You know exactly what the outcome will be, but for some reason we still keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
We're creatures of habit, literally. So I actually love habits, bad habits and all, because those are neural pathways that are already established. And the brain is really finicky because it doesn't like to use mental energy if it doesn't have to. It's kind of lazy. Oh. It's lazy in the sense that if it ain't broke, let's not fix it. Okay? If we already established the mental habits, you're going to have to do some serious convincing to take on a new way of thinking and being, because it's energetically expensive to create new neural pathways, especially in our late 30s, 40s, 50s plus, because the architecture of our brain has changed. It's more intentional. It's half of the connections from our younger years where, when we were in our 20s, we could do all the things, we could focus on all the things, learn all the things, because our brains are designed to learn about the world as fast as possible so we can survive it and thrive. But by the time we are in our 30s, we have probably got some skills, we went to school, we have experiences, and now those neural pathways are intertwined, they're refined with experiences and wisdom and all of that. And so our brains want to be very intentional about the new information that it takes in, the new habits that it takes in. It has to be according to where we are on that part of the journey. And so adding value, adding new neural networks to those strongest neural networks is what the brain wants to do and what it wants to put its energy towards. And so I know a lot of your audience might resonate with this, because a lot of us tend to become entrepreneurs in our late 30s, 40s, 50s after we self-actualize, right? And we have all this awareness. And then we try to use our brains like a 20-year-old and learn all these things. And then we feel like crap.
Yes.
Because we can't. Do you resonate? Okay.
I feel like
So I want to know what your bad habits are, because we can pave over those and then find ways. Okay, what are you already eating? And is what you are already eating contributing to building up your 100 billion brain cells so that they can be, so that they can thrive, right? What are you already doing to move your body? Let's capitalize off of that, because those are existing neural networks. You have this whole movement where people are saying, create new habits in 21 days. Like, I'm a rebel. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I know myself, right? So what's worked for me is understanding the brain and how it is at this age. I'm almost 44. 45. I'm 44 now. So, once we are able to understand how the brain works and how it utilizes energy and how it wants to be aligned with our purpose, our mission, that's when we can get in alignment and understand our true selves, our authentic selves, because it's intertwined with our most strongest neural networks, the neural networks that we have cultivated. I call it like fine wine, right?
Yeah.
It's complex. We're not built in our 40s and 50s to learn basic information anymore. Rote information, memorization. We want meaningful information.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that really does. I just never thought about it, but I'm about to go easier on myself now.
Please,
I'm
that's
43. Okay, I can take a break from all the things.
I'm trying to. So that's another way.
It's a movement we're creating. To
reduce burnout.
Yes.
Stop trying to act like you're 20 years old anymore in the brain. You're not. You're like fine wine, Mindy.
Yeah,
okay. You're complex.
Yes.
So anything you take in has to be worth it to your brain.
Yeah.
You're very selective.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not burn out our brains learning all the things anymore. How about that?
Yeah.
Give ourselves grace. Audience, ladies.
Yes. Give yourselves grace.
So one more
good.
thing around that. Nobody talks like this about the brain that I know about.
That's why I like you.
Because it's not an obvious way to talk about burnout.
Yeah. No, not at all.
I mean, it's easy to default to get more sleep, eat this and eat that. But it's those deeper levels of understanding and the connections that really will help people to overcome burnout.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
We are out of time. It goes fast, right?
It does.
Well, thank you for all of that. And I'm just so honored that you took the time to come and sit with us today. And I just had the best time. And I will link to everything. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I love sharing this, and I hope everyone benefited from my version.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All about it. All about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to dive into more of all that we talked about with Shonté, be sure to check out the links in the description of this episode. Thank you so much for being here today. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast.
Light it up, light it up.